Welcome to week 3. Week 3 I've entitled The Plot Thickens. The exercise of week 3 is to write a treatment of your script. The exact definition of a treatment varies. It depends on who you speak to. Some people would term the pitch document a treatment. Other people call a treatment an almost scene-by-scene breakdown of the script. For us, we're going to go for something in the middle. We're going to go for a document that tells the entire story from beginning to end in as much detail as you need for you to be able to approach writing the script. And I've given an example in the course document that usually a feature film treatment is somewhere between 10 to 15 pages. Sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. It really depends how much detail. But the basic point of writing a treatment is to get to know the plot, is to really work on the plot of whatever it is you're writing. And now the plot of any story is simply what happens and the order in which it happens. It sounds simple, but it is relentlessly difficult to get right. And many people fall down at this stage. So let's take it slowly and let's take it bit by bit. In the course document, you have the pitch document of the wall. And I've just, again in the course document, broken that down into how I would approach it to write the treatment. So each episode of The Wall, which is a sitcom, would begin with our main character, Timothy the Wall Walters, finding a prospective girlfriend online or meeting them in a shop or in the street. And then he would canvass opinion from his friends, Becky in the script, in the course document, his mother, to find out how best to approach going on this date himself. And then in the end, he will go on a date, which will inevitably end in failure. This then is the simple 3-act structure. In Act 1, your central character sets out to achieve something. In Act 2, your central character will explore different ways of achieving his or her goal. In Act 3, your central character will put all they have learned into play to either achieve their goal, which is what happens in, say, a film like Jaws, where Brody finally manages to kill the shark. They will either discover something better, a film, for example, like When Harry Met Sally, where Harry and Sally have spent the whole film dating other people, becoming friends, getting married, getting divorced, doing absolutely everything except being with each other. In the 3rd act, they finally realize that they are the ideal couple, so they achieve something better. Or, in your 3rd act, they might achieve the exact opposite. They might not achieve what they set out to do. And the example I've given is in The Godfather, where in the first 10 minutes of that film, Michael Corleone makes it perfectly explicit that he doesn't want to be like his family when he's talking to Kay at the wedding, if you've seen the film. So he doesn't want to be like his family, but in the end, he becomes the Godfather. So no matter what he does in that film, it's a tragedy. He sort of doesn't achieve his goal. So to recap, your Act 1, your character sets out to achieve something. Your Act 2, your character explores different ways of achieving this. And your Act 3, they either achieve it, they achieve something better, or they don't achieve it. And another example, again, is Jaws. In Act 1, our main character, Brody, sets out to achieve something. To save the town of Amity from a shark. In Act 2, he'll explore different ways of doing this, and then they go through various scenarios. They put up patrols on the beach, they put up patrols in the water, they say there's a competition organized to hunt down a shark. They try all of this, none of this works, and then he sort of hires Quint, and they go on a boat. And in the end, after all of this, it is just Brody and the shark. and he sort of shoots a gas canister in the shark's mouth, and it explodes. So he's used everything he has learned to achieve his goal, and in the end he achieves it. What must be implicit from this is that your character's goal must be absolutely clear to both you and the audience in that first act. Whatever it is they want to achieve must be completely clear. Brody to save the town of Amity from a shark. Harry and Sally, they want to meet somebody and fall in love. The Godfather, Michael Corleone, doesn't want to be like his family. It is made explicit. Your character's central goal is made explicit in that first act. So then you divide the structure of your screenplay in your first act, your second act, and your third act. The second act, because it is so long, is divided into two. Act 1, Act 2, Part 1, and Act 2, Part 2. And at the end of Act 2, Part 1, something will happen that will send your main character onto a different route, or look at their problem in a different way. They will have a rethink. The example in Jaws is that Act 2, Part 1 ends with the realization that they cannot kill the shark by putting up patrols or by sort of cordoning off the beach. Somebody actually has to go out and hunt the shark and kill it. And that's what happens at the end of Act 2, Part 1. Then Brody, Quint, and Hooper get on a boat, and they spend the second half of Act 2 on a boat, and then Act 3, obviously, Brody confronts the shark. So your script now is divided into 4 segments. Act 1, where your central character is introduced, and they set out on a specific goal. Act 2, Part 1, where they use different methods to achieve their goal, but fail, and then have to reassess. Act 2, Part 2, where they continue to strive to achieve their goal. Usually Act 2, Part 2 ends with them very far from achieving their goal. And then that takes us into Act 3, where they either achieve their goal, achieve something better, or don't achieve their goal at all if it's a tragedy. So you can break down your treatment. If your treatment is, say, 10 pages, use the first 2 for your opening act, the next 3 for Act 2, Part 1, the next 3 pages for Act 2, Part 2, and the last 2 pages for Act 3. But remember, you must be absolutely clear about what your central character's goal is for you to be able to plot what it is they're trying to achieve, how they don't achieve it or do achieve it, but it has to be absolutely clear. My character wants to achieve this, and either they do achieve something better or don't achieve it at all. And that is what you explore in the treatment, step by step, not necessarily scene by scene, but certainly plot point by plot point. What are the significant plot points leading my character to the end of this story? If you have the time, you can watch your favorite movie. If your favorite movie is Jaws or The Godfather, and you can see how these things are plotted out, how the character will either sort of move towards their goal or move further away from their goal. And in The Godfather, if you've seen that, Michael Corleone says he doesn't want to be like his family, but then his eldest brother, who is obviously going to become the Godfather, is killed. His middle brother, who's slightly older than him, is ineffectual. He fails to protect their father, Marlon Brando, when they're sort of targeted for a hit, and Marlon Brando gets shot. So the only character in that story who can sort of protect the father, Marlon Brando, is Michael Corleone, Al Pacino. And so he keeps getting drawn into the family despite his best attempts not to be. And that is what you're trying to achieve in the treatment. You're expanding the plot of your film. Be very clear about the goal, and be very clear about the steps leading your character towards their goal or away from their goal. That is what you're trying to achieve with the treatment. Okay?